This is a video that focuses on the response, or rather, comment on the BRICS initiative, of them having an emphasis of saying the use of domestic currencies within the BRICS countries. It is rather a very good initiative, and it brought some thoughts. It brought some understanding with regards, not understanding, but a different perspective of the approach of the ECB. One would ordinarily say the ACB relative to the ECB. So the logic and thinking would focus on the central bank from an African perspective and the European perspective. So the position that was taken by the president and the team in the BRICS summit was the emphasis of local currencies instead of the US currency. It took BRICS to a certain perspective, or rather positioned BRICS in the fight, or rather interventions of trying to get close to a more stable, internationalized economy. So instead of going to saying Africa and our way towards development being perceived in the continent perspective, thus therefore leaning on the ACB, or the establishment of the African Central Bank to be a solution. Instead of focusing on the African, we go to BRICS and we focus mostly on development first. So this brings us closer to actually the African Central Bank, the African agenda, through the developmental status. So it rather opened a certain line of thought when you approach it from saying, check, South Africa is taking a stance with its long-term missions and long-term goals of trying to establish stability and internalization and development more than anything else. So you look at the stance of the BRICS initiative. Now we start saying amongst BRICS countries, there's already the BRICS Bank. So now we're answering, that answers the African Central Bank question when we go into Africa. But then it goes deeper to saying a developmental status. Now we try and maintain a developmental status, saying that, and grow beyond where we are, and saying that within countries like us that have identified itself at a particular point in time, saying that we are like when you come into development, and us working together would actually make us grow within the international community. That's now creating a new source of line of thought that rather comes with a different agenda, So the stance of a currency itself, it rather, and the BRICS Bank, and it gives us an opportunity to say that, check all these agendas and all these fights that we've been doing. Now we have an opportunity of saying that there is other countries that we're doing with the currencies and especially the international trade. Because now if you're taking it from an international trade perspective, we're saying that now we are starting now to be exposed to the international trade thereof, the international, so the policy implementation thereof amongst countries where power is shared in a perspective of saying, different from SADC. There is a perspective of SADC where you sit down and saying that SADC countries, but now you go to BRICS, you have your Russia as part of a player, You have a veto. You are building now from, and we start wanting, amongst us countries, we start wanting a relations, or rather a working conditions that treat us as equals, instead of the international mediocrity, or rather international stances that we always find ourselves in. And it brings a different light, and it motivates growth. So even within the African agenda that we'd have, but taking things from a BRICS perspective, and growing our local economy. We start having a stance, a position of saying that within the vision of going for single currency, or check, there's nothing that stops in the times of your cryptocurrency, and everything is possible. There's nothing that one day says that we have a BRICS currency. It wouldn't be impossible. It's actually, it's far from being a topic of saying that it's something that would need initiative. But what's important is making sure that the working relation within the current multilateral agreement that we have with them, and maybe some internal bilateral agreements that might arise because of the multilateral itself. It rather motivates progress and developmental mindset amongst the countries, to saying that we are moving to a particular direction, and we are actively in that at this particular point in time. So it is rather a big step. um, Indeed, we see a future that's moving towards telling the international powerhouses and the big houses that we are not gonna be dictated by you. We are an economy. We do have minerals. We do have what it takes. I mean, BRICS is well established. It's a compilation of. There's nothing that we need, as when we're saying that we're moving with BRICS. In all the questions that always arise, that the international powerhouses are bullying us. We have Russia. You can't be saying you're bullied. Even now, I can see that we're standing up towards the US and France. Oh, kind of France and France and all that. So yeah, it's a great development. We are indeed moving in a positive direction when it comes to the international balance of forces. BRICS is indeed a solution for our development, because of we have our Commonwealth attachments. We have our ALGOAs, you understand, which come from, maybe the ALGOA agreements are not, they might be agreements for now, but the ALGOA agreements come from international bilateral agreements that we see it as an ALGOA now, but the things that have been established a long time ago. So we are trying, we start now having a point of saying that within our current stance, and now we can go back and saying that in the Commonwealth, is the Commonwealth working us? You understand? Now we what are the beautiful conditions that can be placed for us to be taken serious by the Commonwealth? Because the Commonwealth now, as we're speaking, the heads of the there was a Brexit there. When Britain exited the European Union, there was Brexit there, and the European Union has its agendas. Your ECBs are there. Your ECBs are part of the Britain exits, and then they come now. We have the Commonwealth. They play a big role within the Commonwealth. So we are able to say that in the new establishment that is being brought forward, what Britain exit the European Union, so we have our BRICS here. In the new international agenda, we stand up, and we want to. We must emerge. We, as an economy, we must be taken serious, and our people must start benefiting from the new economy. So it is rather it's rather a big initiative that obviously has its internal, and each nation has a responsibility of applying it, so that when you get back to BRICS summit, we always have a contribution. Now we're going to the G20. We from BRICS, we're going to G20. The same narrative and the same commitment must happen, so that whenever we get into this multilateral agreements, we know that we emerge as South Africa. from all of them, whatever perspective and direction they focus on. But at the end of the day, intentionally, we stand in a very beautiful position. Tembisiles in the FSP 54211. This was just a response to the BRICS summit, but obviously a more comprehensive one will be made after a consideration of everything that has been done.